friends. We've been talking about birch bark and how Native Americans used wood, and especially birch bark, in their everyday living. Do you remember this picture? Look back here. Do you see this big tree trunk that these Native Americans cut here and here? It's on its side, and they are using some hot stones and wood to burn on the inside. It's called a cavity when it's on the inside. And then they use tools to scrape away the charred wood as it burns. But they control it so that the whole tree trunk doesn't burn. They will use this when they're finished as a boat, a way to move around through water or to move things through the water. They might even seal it with some of that sticky sap or another kind of liquid so that it doesn't take on water and get saturated like a sponge and then sink. So friends, I want to show you some of those birch toys I was talking about. Do you remember this canoe? It's made of birch bark. And then there were these too, also made of birch bark, but these are ones that were actually meant to be toys that my sons played with. Now this one doesn't stay afloat. It turns sideways and it still floats, but not this way because the bottom is so, probably because this is so straight. But this one has a wide bottom. See that? I'm going to test that one. Oh, it turns sideways too. I have one more. Let's try this little one. Oh, that turns sideways too. Well, we can still test birch. I have a piece right here. If you were able to find some birch bark, you could fill a container with water and see if that birch floats. And then maybe even see if you can put some things on it, just as if they were things that the Native Americans may have traded with other tribes or helped move if they were changing locations. I have some shell tools. Ooh, that piece of birch bark is really strong. Here's another shell. Wow, it's still floating. I have some small stones too. And that birch is still floating. I have some other pieces of bark. This one I just found in my yard. It's a lot thicker, not that thin papery bark from the birch tree, but it still floats. And here's a smaller one. I even have some bigger stones. Do you think this big stone will sink my birch? Ah, that one sunk. But I wonder if the other kind of bark will sink. Ah, it kind of rolls off. I could try a smaller stone. That one rolled off too. I have a little turtle. This is actually carved from stone. 2 different pieces and then glued together. See my turtle? I'm going to put him on the log, on the bark. So he's flatter, not as high up as this that rolled off. And he could go for a little ride. I also have one of those cattail mats. And look, I wove it and it's still kind of has some holes in it. Do you think it will float? Will the water come up through? Look at that, the water doesn't come up through. Should we try those stones now? That one stayed on. Here's that big heavy one. That one sunk my cattail mat. So friends, you could look for some wood, some bark, and maybe even try floating some leaves and see if they're strong enough to hold stones. That leaf is holding stones. Some of them are staying on. I even got some sticks. I wonder if I can get the sticks to stay on the leaf. So a combination of sticks that float and the leaf would make a boat even stronger. So friends, I hope you can find some different materials to sink and float and see what kind of boats you can make out of natural things like Native American children did to play in streams and water in their areas. Have fun with that.